Hello, welcome back to our channel, Specializing in Nothing. I'm your co-host Omar Reyes, and this is Carlos Perez, and we're just gonna get right into it. So, might as well just get right back into it.
Right. So starting off, we kind of missed the Super Bowl stuff, so we're gonna talk about some foosball.
Yeah, just talk about it a little bit.
I want to start off with the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, first off, because again, we missed it, and it has been a couple weeks, but I just want to. Did you imagine that happening to the Chiefs?
I mean, partially I did that. Like we talked about it during the Super Bowl preview that I don't think aired, but but that's another story for another time. But we talked about it earlier. They have like a vicious front seven, and some of the best linebackers in the game. Sean Murphy Butts, he's a great corner. So and
then on top of that,
their offensive line.
They had a
left tackle who hadn't played left tackle in like 3 years. They were beat up there. So I mean, it's something that we thought was going to happen, but I mean,
you always had some type of like.
You thought like Patty could
Patrick
do it.
Mahomes,
Yeah,
and
but I mean,
Travis.
the team low-key let him down. He was putting balls in guys' face masks that was getting caught.
When he was just like he was perpendicular to the floor.
That's a big word.
And he threw that ball.
He did
like 20 yards down, and it hit him in the face mask.
Some of the most impressive incompletions I've ever seen in my life. They were ridiculous.
That incompletion made it into the top 100 plays.
It should be.
In the NFL. Like, the NFL released the top 100 plays of the season. That incompletion was in it.
And then the one before that was even more impressive. The one right before the sideways shit, he rolled out left and threw the ball falling out of bounds. He did like a 360 and threw the ball. And the guy almost caught it in the end zone. That would have been a tough catch.
That would have been.
But
it
still,
been a tough catch. It's the Super Bowl. You gotta.
Nah, that would have been wild. That's wild.
We've seen some crazy catches in the NFL.
I mean, in order to be able to get that ball off and throw it 30, 40 yards down the field and give your receiver a chance is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, he was doing that the entire game. Props to him. I don't think this is going to go against his legacy or anything like that. I think that, if anything, he showed that he has what it takes.
Funny how things work, though, right? How, I know it's kind of weird, but how prior to Brady, when Brady won his 3 and then was getting stopped by the Giants and couldn't get back, how all that counted against the legacy, though, right? Julian Edelman dropping Wes Walker dropping a pass.
Wes Walker, yeah.
That was
the stupid helmet catch.
Even the playoffs against the Baltimore Ravens. That's why I said Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman dropped the pass that would have sent us to the Super Bowl.
I mean, you could technically say the same thing.
But all of this
the
stuff,
Broncos.
Yeah, all of this stuff counted against Brady. But we're gonna take it easy on Patty. But it's cool. It's whatever though.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
People, you know what it is. People aren't hating on the Chiefs like people hated on the Patriots.
Yeah,
so that's exactly.
So they win like 2-3 more.
Yeah.
Then
they'll start hitting on them, and then they'll be like, "Oh, but he lost to Brady." Lost to Brady. But
And will that count against his legacy? Who knows? Because I mean, realistically, Patty's the only one who could really catch him.
I feel like in terms of, Hall of Fame and all of that, it's not gonna. And I feel like when you're gonna put him up against Brady, because Brady is obviously, unquestionably the greatest to ever play, and at some point in Patrick Mahomes' career, when it's kind of nearing the end of his career, you're gonna try to stack all those accomplishments. He's probably gonna get more MVPs than Brady did. It's very possible. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, unless like an Aaron Rodgers-esque player goes off like Aaron Rodgers did this year.
I mean, you still have Lamar.
So there's possibilities that he won't.
A lot of guys.
In terms of Super Bowls, I could see them getting another
Burrow.
2-3.
Yeah, I can see them rattling off a few more. It is going to come a time in that squad's lifeline where money's going to become a problem. How they moved around that cap to even sign some of these guys, I have no idea. But there's going to come a point where money's going to be an issue, and that's really going to affect, being able to put the right pieces around Patty. And we see the problems with the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Offensive linemen are expensive, especially the good ones.
I mean, you gotta protect your most important asset. And he's getting surgery for his turf toe and everything. Also, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes. He just had his first baby girl.
Also, I didn't know turf toe was that severe. I don't know why I always thought it was just like you stubbed your toe on some turf. Like, I've been scared of turf for years, thinking that's what it was.
Yeah.
I know it was something a ligament in your foot or some shit.
It's a very misleading name.
Yeah, why the fuck you call it turf toe? Call it what it is.
Call
it's
it what
ridiculous.
It is.
Anyways.
I will say, at a certain point, maybe in a later episode, I do want to have that discussion of greatest kind of like athlete of all time. Or greatest icon in sports, but we have a lot more to talk about. So depending on the time,
I'm adding something to the NBA thing.
To the NBA thing,
yeah,
all right.
Moving that on later.
But we'll get to that probably in a later episode. Yeah. But
back to the Bucks, though.
Yes, the Bucks.
Odds of repeating. They're losing a lot of key free agents: Shaq, Godwin, Levante David.
Not necessarily losing; they just have so many key free agents. It's important that they sign. I feel like Chris Godwin is someone you can let go of.
Yeah, obviously. They're deep at wide receiver.
You need to sign those big defensive players.
Yeah,
Shaq Barrett is 100%. He needs to be on the team.
One.
He's the most important.
And my co-host on my other podcast is a huge he's a Bucks fan, like a diehard Bucks fan. He's not a bandwagon fan. Like, he's been with the Bucks ride or die forever.
Oh, man.
He was telling me how key Levante David is to that defense.
You know what?
Especially during that playoff run. So
it was
you gotta pay Shaq, you gotta pay Levante, and Godwin I think is going to be a casualty. He wants to get paid. He talked about on the Pat McAfee podcast. He's looking forward to getting paid.
And he should. He's a talent, and when you have that talent in the NFL. Sometimes you just gotta do what's better for your pocket instead of just like trying to chase rings, you know.
And he's young. He's coming off his rookie deal. He hasn't got paid yet. Shaq got franchise tagged, I believe, last year, so he's gotten a little bit of bread. So maybe he'll take a cut. And Mike Evans famously said, towards the end of that bowl, like, whatever you want to do with my money, do it. Let's run this back.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
that's
have
the thing. Mike Evans is So I'm sure they'll be able to sign those key players. Whether or not someone like Godwin comes back, what do you think about like Ndamukong Suh?
I mean, I feel like if Ndamukong Suh's not inclined to retire, he's a guy who's been paid. He'll come back.
He got his money. He got money.
He'll take a lesser deal.
And is this his first ring? I think so.
Yeah, I think
so. I think he'd be down to try to get another one at
the cheap guys like
discount price.
And even like the whole thing. A lot of people have been talking about it. Like, there's going to be a lot of guys ring chasing, trying to go to Tampa. So you can lose talent like Godwin because there's guys that will take a lot less money. Like T.Y. Hilton, a guy who's a free agent, been paid, might want to get a ring.
Exactly. He's been paid. There's so much talent that at this point. And this is where the NFL is kind of turning a little bit almost into like something like the NBA, where players have more of a decision in terms of like when it comes to like free agency and things like that and ring chasing like that. It used to be like, players would go to New England to ring chase, but a lot of times Bill Belichick had that authority to be like, I'm gonna cut you, I'm gonna trade you, and do all these things where it seems like it's changing a little bit. Do you think someone like Brady, that can inspire people and that just like people know, 7 rings. People know he's all about championships. Do you think having someone on your team like that is going to kind of change your franchise around? So like,
I mean, obviously, it goes without saying. He first year with a new team. Granted, the team was stacked and loaded. The team
was stacked.
But, I mean, that changes.
Defense ended last year top 5.
Yeah, they had the top 5 offensive line as well.
The reason they weren't in the playoffs was because
2 of the best wide receivers in the game.
Yeah, the reason they weren't in the playoffs because their quarterback threw 30 interceptions.
But yeah, back to the whole Brady thing. There was a whole forgetting this guy's name. I think he was a DB for some team. But I think he played for Peyton Manning. But he was talking about you don't want to be the reason why. You know what I mean? So that's why when you play with these great quarterbacks, a Peyton Manning, a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes, you don't want to be the reason why they don't get that ring. Yeah, you don't want to be the reason why they don't get the ring. You don't want to be the guy who blows the coverage and now, all eyes are on you. So there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. So it's also about finding the right players that can, handle that pressure of playing with a guy like Tom Brady. And yeah, Tom Brady, without a doubt, man, you put him into your locker room, he's going to change everything about it. That's a winning
exactly
culture.
What he did.
Exactly.
It's what he did.
Because the Bucks were, for a large part of the better part of the decade, a laughingstock in the NFL. They hadn't made the playoffs in years.
Have had the worst winning percentage in any major sports.
So you add Tom Brady, and that whole culture completely changed. Just changed. And now you got a championship there. So,
and it's historic, a home Super Bowl championship win.
And also, there is the whole thing about Tom Brady's knee surgery, so we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah, it looks like, from what I've read and from what I've heard, it's going to be a minor surgery, but he is 43, going to be 44 this year, so,
Will Father Time catch up? We will find out.
We'll find out.
But moving away from some old people, let's get to some young people. Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner last season, was asked a weird question that got leaked that shouldn't have got leaked. I just want to know your thoughts on this. He was asked straight up, who'd you rather have as your QB, Mac Jones or Tua Tagovailoa? And he chose Mac Jones. Kind of a loaded question, that shouldn't have got leaked in the first place. No. And what do you think about all of that? What's your take on that?
I feel like Tua's rookie year, he didn't show that it factor when it comes to being an elite quarterback. Now, again, he was injured, coming into the draft, and I'm always fascinated by the order in which you place them, and it certainly feels like from the beginning of the process.
Gotta love it.
And then on top of that, it was just, I don't know. From what I've heard about Dolphins players talking about Tua, a lot of them would have rather have stuck with the beard, which makes sense. He was playing phenomenal up until that point. Why they put Tua in? I guess they wanted to see what they got with their high draft pick last year. But Mac Jones, I don't know, because sometimes you just never know when a college quarterback coming into the NFL what they're gonna look like.
Yeah, a lot of the big thing with in college is guys get schemed open a lot, so you have to really kind of break down when you're scouting. Is that a scheme completion or is that a quarterback completion? So that's a big thing with that. Starting to listen, a lot of these rookies got kind of screwed this year. No OTAs, none of that stuff, and no preseason, none of that stuff. So it's literally you're just gonna get thrown into a live game. That's why do your best.
I'm not writing Tua off.
That was completely off topic, though. But if I can trade Tua for a Deshaun Watson or a Russell Wilson, that's happening in a heartbeat.
100%.
And I think Miami fans will 100% agree with that. If you got a chance to get a franchise-changing quarterback, no offense 100%. To Tua, you go get that guy. Even if it's getting a first and trading up for a Trevor Lawrence. In that situation, you definitely do that as well.
It's just not happening.
Or even
Trevor Lawrence is 100% going to the Jags, but
the Jags been flirting around with that pick.
You think so? Have they?
Yeah, that was a big thing about how they're into Deshaun talk and all those other conversations.
Really?
But Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Zach Wilson is another huge prospect that's really shot up the boards lately. He was looking to be a mid-first, late-first kind of guy. Now they got him the number 2 guy right behind Trevor Lawrence on most draft boards. So that's another guy that's out there. But this draft is loaded with a bunch of quarterbacks. And back to the Mac Jones conversation. What do you want him to say, right? Mac Jones balled out this year. He was his quarterback, helped him win the Heisman. So am I not going to pick my guy?
Of course.
41 touchdowns, 4 picks.
It should not have been leaked, though. I agree with you.
It was a bad situation, man. He was damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you answer Mac, if you answer Tua, either both sides, there's going to be problems either way. If you don't answer the questions, now, he's got a problem with blah, blah, blah. And the media can spin shit any way they want to spin it. So I think he made the right choice choosing Mac. Why not go with your guy, the guy that helped you win the Heisman? Mm-hmm. Which is so weird. It's completely unrelated as well, that Devontae's draft stock has been dropping as of late. I know part of it's because of his frame, because he's really skinny, but they got guys like Jamar Chase above him. Guys like his teammate Jalen Waddle above him.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really weird. But that's all the draft nonsense that comes with the territory.
We'll see what ends up happening.
Also, hilarious thing that I learned a couple of days ago. Apparently, there was a buzz. Maybe you heard about this, and it just bypassed my ears completely. I thought the guy that told me was completely fucking with me, but it was real. Apparently, a couple of years ago, you know who Darius Geis is? Yeah. So Darius Geis was asked the question in his draft interview, essentially to the point of, "Are you gay?"
Really?
But this is, you got to take it with a little bit of an asterisk, just because Darius Geis has been through a lot of problems. He choked out his girlfriend, a whole bunch of crazy stuff he's been dealing with and stuff. But yeah, essentially that's what he was asked, and that was hysterical to me. Like, that's a draft question. Like, before you get on my team, like, I need to know, like, you like dudes? I just gotta write it down. But moving on from that.
My God.
Heading on to something that was caused a little bit of a buzz a few days ago. At Cam Newton's camp, a kid who shall remain nameless because fuck that kid, decided to just go off on Cam, saying that you're a free agent, yelling at him back and forth,
calling him a bum,
called him ass.
Yeah,
not just a bum. He said you're ass. It's just that's a little above a bum, but
that's a fight. In where we grew up,
yeah, we fight.
You call somebody ass, you call somebody a bum. That's a fight.
Even essentially when you grew up, like, my mom heard me saying that to a grown man when I was a kid, bro. She would have slapped the shit out of me.
Exactly.
You talking to Cam Newton like that?
And it's Cam Newton.
And you at his camp? That man is trying to make you better. So disrespectful. Former MVP, took a team to a Super Bowl.
And he's also like, he's just a good guy in terms of like,
man, you're at the guy's camp. You just shut the fuck up, listen, and try to learn something.
Kids these days, man.
The kid did come out and apologize.
He did.
So I mean,
but come on, man.
I mean, you can see how competitive juices do get going, and you talk a little smack back and forth. But sometimes you do got to know your place and shut the fuck up. But
also,
shout out to Cam for handling it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I've read people saying that he should have smacked him. He should have, but Cam handled it like I would assume Cam would handle it.
The best you can.
And from what I've heard, that kid ain't nothing special either. Like, he's not going anywhere. So I find that funny. Kid. But I mean, come on,
gotta do better. But moving away from that, on to another kind of punked situation. Michael Pittman Jr. gets a brand new quarterback, Carson Wentz. And instead of trying to ingratiate himself to said quarterback by saying, kind of like what Chris Godwin did to Brady, like, bro, you don't even got to ask, the number's yours. He goes the completely opposite route and basically says, you ain't getting my number, but we cool, though. He made sure to end it on, like, we cool, though, but you ain't getting my number, though.
I think it speaks to the trust that people have in Carson Wentz right now.
You're not wrong.
Because, I mean, is he still good? Like, we just don't know. Now, he is kind of reuniting with his old offensive coordinator. So that's, and when, because I'm blanking on the name, but when he was with him, that's when he was, like, having MVP caliber years. So we'll see what happens. That being said, I think that's just funny. More than anything.
Like, that guy's gonna be throwing you the football, bro. You might want to be nice to him.
You might want to be.
You have one career touchdown. You really think you're gonna be calling the shots over there in Indianapolis, bro? But like 500 yards, I think he had last year, maybe 600. Like, you shouldn't be. Watch your mouth. Know your place. Another guy. Know your place, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and the whole thing about Carson, like, how it's so disrespectful, man. He had one bad year. One bad year with a horrible offensive line. And it's also
like the Eagles were super dysfunctional.
They're a bad
the entire year. And there were games where he had them in the game with nothing.
I mean, well, I make no excuses for him this year. He was straight up bad. 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. I mean, he played
he had nothing on that team.
Yeah, but there was just times he looked like he didn't know what football was.
Fair enough. But again, it's a bad year.
But first bad year in 3 seasons. I think he averaged like about 7 picks. His previous 3 seasons, 21, 26 touchdowns, always around that mark. Yeah. So he's a solid quarterback. Hopefully he bounces back. There was they compared the stats with the offensive coordinator that you alluded to earlier, and what happened after he left, and the stats are more or less the exact same thing.
Really?
But yeah.
I mean, again, one bad year. We'll see what happens with Wentz.
We'll see. Let's get out of the foosball area.